Hello everyone, and welcome to day number 101 of your daily Chafetz Chaim. Today we continue with the sixth chapter of the laws of Rechilos. Chafetz Chaim writes in halacha number 5. It is forbidden to accept Rechilos from anyone, even if you trust them like you would trust two witnesses in court. Nevertheless, you're not allowed to believe Rechilos that they tell you. However, if this is information that you need to know, meaning that it is something that will be applicable to you because someone intends to harm you or cause you damage or loss, something like that, then you would be allowed to listen to this person and believe him if you trust him in fact like you would trust two witnesses in court. However, you're not allowed to then go and share this information with others unless they also need to know this information for their own protection. But the Chafetz Chaim warns this is only true if the person who's telling it to you heard it directly from the person who he's talking about. However, if he heard it from someone who in turn heard it from the person who we're discussing, that would not be any better than any other person, and you would not be allowed to believe it whatsoever, although, as always, you are allowed to protect yourself in the event that something like that should come to be, but you're not allowed to believe it at all. Then the Chafetz Chaim continues in halacha number 6. And even if it is allowed, and this is only going to be the case if you really truly believe him, meaning in all areas of life, meaning if you always trust this person as you would trust two witnesses, that there is absolutely no doubt about what this person ever says, and he never exaggerates and is never going to say anything that is not 100% true and accurate, then you would be allowed to believe him and this would apply. However, if it's not someone that you always believe no matter what that person might say, and just now you feel that they're saying the truth, that is not sufficient, and you would not be allowed to believe this person. And on the contrary, the more you believe them, the worse the prohibition is going to be, because it is going to create a greater animosity, as we have learned. And in halacha number 7, the Chafetz Chaim continues and says that this, according to most opinions, is not applicable nowadays. This was true in the times of the Talmud, where there were such people who would in fact never ever lie or exaggerate or anything like that. However, most opinions say that nowadays this does not really apply very often, if at all, and therefore it is not something that we should rely upon. And unfortunately, the Chafetz Chaim says we find a lot of people who will believe no one when it comes to Lashon Hara or Rechilos, which is great, but they will believe a spouse or a parent or a Rebbe or something like that, and unfortunately that is not correct, because you're not allowed to trust people, even if they were to fulfill all these requirements. According to most opinions nowadays, this leniency does not apply, and therefore we should never assume that because we trust somebody, we are therefore allowed to believe Lashon Hara or Rechilos that they tell us.